it's fine, whatever works best.
What did I do with my sheet? Oh. I'm going to have you ask question number 3 for the general interview questions for new applicants.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
It says, please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group. Okay, so that will be your consistent question you ask of everyone. Sound good?
Okay,
Recording
I have
in
the
progress.
questions here.
I can't really hear Councilor Valenzuela that well. We're going to fix that because it could, I mean, I did
Okay.
because I can't see well anymore. I'm trying to do all the things.
Okay.
Oh, that's much better. Okay. Councilor Guston, you good? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to call this work session of the Forest Grove City Council to order. The topic at 5:30 is board and commission interviews. And I'm going to turn it over. In attendance, we have online via Zoom, we have Councilor Valenzuela, Councilor Gustafson, Councilor Martinez, Councilor Marshall, and Mayor Wenzel. Absent and excused is Councilor Ewing and Councilor Rippey. I'm going to turn it over to Jesse quickly.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Councilor Valenzuela, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, I heard you. Great.
So just a brief staff report. In November and December of 2023, council interviewed 15 members for various boards and commissions. And after that was all complete, there were still some vacancies that were left. And so the council asked us to do another recruitment. We did the recruitment from March 15th to April 30th. It was open for 6 weeks. We advertised it heavily on social media, on the website. We received 10 confirmed applicants. However, we did have one applicant that requested to withdraw today. So we're down to 9 applicants. The council has the applicant list, the applications themselves, and then the board and commission roster. I think there is 6 minutes for each interview, and council also has the questions, and then there's plenty of time for deliberation afterwards. And if you have any questions of me, I'm happy to try and answer them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
Any
Mayor. Thanks,
questions
council.
of council? Okay, so we're going to get started now. And I believe our first, and I really do apologize if I mispronounce people's names. I'll try to ask before. But our first applicant, is on Zoom. And it's Sachi Akawa. Is that correct?
Close. Sachi Arakawa.
Arakata. Okay, thank you, Miss Arakata. We're going to get started. So I'm going to read the script really quick. Thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the City Council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in the public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. Okay, and then at the end, if you have any questions, you can ask them. Okay, so we're going to get started. Councilor Gustafson.
Hi, Sachi. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
Yeah, great question. Well, I work a lot with trees, and trees are a big part of my life, both in my work and also kind of my civic engagement. I do a lot of volunteer work with trees and used to, when I lived in Portland, be like a neighborhood tree steward. So really liked to get involved in that way. And I moved to the Forest Grove area 4 years ago. And we love Forest Grove. We spend a lot of time there. I live just a little outside of city limits, but within the zip code. And, you know, I think the Forest Grove's trees are very unique, and I was really excited to hear that you have a community forestry commission. Not all smaller cities have that in Oregon, so that was really exciting. As like a longtime tree lover in my personal life and also my professional life, working with tree code and tree regulation, it kind of made sense. And I really like giving back and being able to make an impact in a place that I actually live and spend a lot of time with my family in.
Great. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Karen Martinez. And Sachi, number 2, how are you vested in Forest Grove, which you already mentioned that you've lived here for 4 years. If any other information you can give us about your life here?
Sure, yeah. And my dog is whining, so if she gets too loud, let me know. Yeah, so my husband grew up here. He went to school here, and both his parents were school teachers in the area. And so he has a long history here. And we've spent together a lot of time here even before we moved to the area because his parents still live here. And so I've loved Forest Grove for a long time. I love the college. I love downtown. Again, love the big trees. We love Rogers Park. So I feel, I think it's really unique how many, especially like large mature trees, Forest Grove has been able to preserve. And I know as an environmental planner, how challenging that can be. So I think it's very cool that the city has, put some effort into stewardship and preservation of trees. I also know how challenging that can be again. It's not an easy thing to do, but I definitely really enjoy and appreciate the way that Forest Grove has been able to keep a lot of their trees and keep that character of the city. So that's, yeah, I mean, we spend most of our time in Forest Grove. It's the closest town to us that we can spend time in and recreate and all that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sachi. And this is Councilor Valenzuela. And first of all, I want to congratulate you on your outstanding history of volunteering. You're obviously very passionate for the work that you do with the trees and forest. And I think you would, your background would bring a lot of positive contribution to the commission. But my question for you is, please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
Yeah, I mean, consensus is always a challenge, and I don't know how polarizing tree topics are in Forest Grove, but I work kind of around the region on a lot of polarizing topics related to trees. I work in Portland, Beaverton, Lake Oswego, and while people love trees, we also know there's a lot of things that conflict with trees, infrastructure, utilities, sidewalks, making room for new development that we need, housing, jobs. So yeah, trees can, well, we all, or many of us are tree lovers. There's also a lot of things that conflict, and it can be hard to make those tough choices and come to consensus. I think consensus is about coming to decisions we can live with. And so part of that is understanding everyone's perspective and where we're coming from. And where there's common ground. And, it may not be, the common ground may not be the thing we all want, the ideal outcome for each one of us, but it's an outcome we can live with together and that we can agree on. So I think understanding people's positions, being able to maybe kind of step back from our own positions or get whoever we're working with to step back and kind of think about the issue and our root goals and values, and maybe not talk so much, try not to use like buzzwords or really loaded words, but think more about like the root values that we all have and maybe share. And then trying to work from there to find common ground. And also like communicating in ways that are respectful, are accessible, I think, too, being able to communicate to people accessibly about what we're talking about in plain language. And working in Portland, a lot of times people use a lot of buzzwords, and there's, a lot of language that can be either alienating or confusing to people. So I think also like part of consensus is like making sure we're all speaking the same language and plainly and communicating the issues in an accessible way so we can actually like understand each other. Because I think there's usually a lot more common ground than we think there is.
Thank you, Sachi.
Hi, Sachi. This is Councilor Marshall. I have more of a specific question for the Forestry Board. What are some ideas that the city could do for tree planting outreach in underserved areas of the community?
Great question. Yeah. I mean, I think first off, just kind of identifying, and you all may have already done this work, but identifying what we mean by underserved or vulnerable. Is that where areas that have low tree canopy only? Is it just about where we have less trees? And when we say less trees, do we mean canopy as a whole? Like as in if we're looking from above, just where there's trees, period? Or are we talking about street trees, trees in the public right of way? Are we talking about park trees? So I guess first thing would just be defining what we mean by vulnerable. And is that just about where people have access to trees, or is it also about like socioeconomic characteristics, historically marginalized populations? So coming to a common understanding about how we define those things, I think is a really important first step. And then reaching out to groups that are already working in the community. I know there's community-based organizations, service providers that work in communities that don't have as many trees, and also maybe have other like socioeconomic vulnerabilities that we want to look at. Of course, things like shade and urban heat island are always an issue when you think about equity and vulnerability. And so thinking about what populations are most vulnerable to those types of things and where they live, and who works out there in terms of community-based organizations or community leaders that the city might already have partnerships with. I don't know a lot about the city of Forest Grove's relationship with community groups, but I know both Forest Grove, I think, and Cornelius have pretty active community groups that I think you could really leverage relationships with to get people more involved in stewardship, planting. I think also offering things like free yard trees, free street trees, or helping people out with the cost of planting and maintenance is really helpful. Giving them information about how to care for a tree. A lot of people I talk to in relation to tree planting or having trees are really concerned about hazard trees too. They can't afford to deal with, a tree that's uprooting their sidewalk, that might fall on their house during an ice storm. Like this last winter was really problematic for a lot of people that had big trees because they were afraid of trees falling on their house, understandably. And we have a lot of big trees in Forest Grove too, right? That if they came down would be quite dangerous. So I think just making sure people have resources and information. And then so identifying the place and like what we mean by vulnerable, targeting those areas for planting and for like financial assistance. And then working with those communities to make sure they actually want trees, they understand, how to take care of the trees, and that those aren't going to be a burden for them.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do you have any questions for the council?
I went a little long, so I'll try. I guess what is you all's vision for what you would like to see the Forestry Commission achieve, like in partnership with you all? Like, do you have kind of a vision for that? I know we don't have much time. That's a pretty big question.
Really quick because of the time, but we do. The Forestry Commission does have a master plan that's part of our Parks and Rec master plan. So they use that to work off and have a yearly, objective and work plan. And then right now, one of the main focuses that the council has for the forestry for this upcoming year is the downtown street inventory and street trees, and really looking at what's going on with that. Accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Very concise.
Yeah, thanks. So what's going to happen now is after we finish all of our interviews, the council will deliberate and talk, and then one of our staff members, Miss Joyce Phillips, will be contacting you, letting you know what the decision was. And then she'll tell you the next steps. So you can expect that phone call in the next couple weeks, I would assume.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, she kind of outlined the details of the position for me when I spoke with her. So I think I've got a basic understanding of what's required. And yeah, I look forward to hearing you all. And thank you so much for having me here today.
Great, thanks. It was a pleasure
being here.
Have a nice night.
You as well. Okay. Bye.
Bye. So for applicants who are in person in the audience, when I call your name, you'll come up to the chair that's pulled out a little bit. It's not all the way pushed in, and then speak into the microphone. So our next applicant is Mr. Michael Howell. If you want to come up, we're just going to go over the same process. Thank you. And I believe that microphone, there's a red light on that microphone, sir. Okay, perfect. That's the one to use. Then. Okay, so thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the city council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in the public process, the public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. Okay, so we're going to start with Councilor Gustafson.
All right. Hello, Mr. Howell. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
So I've been on the Community Forestry Commission now for several years. I think this is my 3rd time reapplying. I like that board. It fits with my past history of education and work. And I feel like I've worked really well on that board, and I enjoy it. And so when I started, it was kind of, I wanted to get into the community and do something, you know, at City Hall, and this seemed like an easy fit. And since then, I've just enjoyed that. And I have young kids now and no aspirations to do anything more at the moment, but I wanted to stay in touch. And I own a small timber company, and I started my college education in forestry at OSU, and currently manage land. And it's been a really nice fit, and I've worked, I think, really well with the people currently on the board.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Howell, since you're a re-applicant, we're going to skip Ms. Martinez's question about being vested in the community.
Sure.
And we're going to move on to the consensus question from Councilor Valenzuela.
That's fine.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Good evening, Mr. Howell. My question for you is please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
Okay. So my approach to that here has been more of, I like to state the case that I believe is the correct one, and then I like to be more of a wallflower. So it's really simple. There's some bigger personalities on the board, and I let those guys, you know, push their agenda for the most part. But I'll state what I feel is necessary, but I have no real interest in swaying anything left or right, or, you know, to my opinion, because if I'm the minority decision, then that's what it's going to be. And again, there's other bigger voices than mine at the table, but that would be my way of handling that.
Great,
All
thank
right. And what are some ideas that the city could do for tree planting outreach in underserved areas of the community?
That's interesting because it feels like we really focus on 3 different things. It's either damaged trees, or the downtown corridor, or Street Tree USA, which is always very big. And those seem to monopolize most of our time. And so we haven't really pushed any outreach. And it feels like the funding hasn't really been available to do more than what we've already set out to do. And so that hasn't been a priority or something we've really looked at, you know, trying to get the downtown street trees up and going and figuring out with the owners of the property and working with the city how that will play out, and just taking care of city grates that are getting pushed up by our street trees and things of that nature has really monopolized the time. So going out beyond that hasn't been much of an issue. If that's a way that the council would like us to go, I don't have any problem with that. But it feels like what we've been asked to do already is the majority of our time. So I'm not sure how we'd handle doing more than that, other than if other people come into our council or our outreach meetings and sit down and say they have an issue, then we can immediately direct towards that. But that hasn't been the case. Very few people come in. Well, maybe 3 in the last 5 years have ever come in and sat in through a meeting with us to say there was an issue. And then we got to address it, which was kind of interesting.
Great. Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
I do not.
Okay, great. So you know the deal since you're reapplying.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come in.
Guys.
Right. Okay, we're going to move on to applicants applying for Committee for Community Engagement. And our first interview applicant is Eva Conway McGuire. Nope, not here yet. Are we a little ahead of time?
Nope.
Okay. Can I skip if the other person's here? Okay, so is Angel Faulkner here? Hi, Ms. Faulkner. So thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the City Council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in the public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. And we're going to start with Councilor Gustafson.
Hi. Thank you for coming. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
I've always served in some capacity in the community that I've lived in, and I've just moved to Forest Grove 2 years ago, so I'm relatively new to the community, but I love the work, and I get a lot out of it. I find it's a really great way to connect with your neighbors, collaborate on problems, ideas, and what better way to do that? Community engagement. So I think, I could bring a lot of my past experience as a volunteer and as a formerly elected official in your seat, and just, serve where I can and where I think I could be helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So, Ms. Faulkner, how are you vested in Forest Grove? Could you tell us that?
Yeah, so we just moved 2 years ago here, but we've actually been a part of the community since 2010. My husband works at Pacific University, and he's been there since he helped restart the football program. So we've been here lots and lots for many years, but just recently, made the move. Our kiddo is, goes to the middle school here, and we're involved in the swim club and lots of activities. Another way to try to engage more and meet more people.
Very good. Thank you.
Good evening. My question for you is, please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
I think, listening and really trying to understand is probably the most important thing in collaboration, because I think when you get a group of people together, when someone else spoke to sort of big voices in a room, and people come with their passions, they come with their big ideas, and they come with their perspective. And I think it's important to try to understand where people are coming from, and how we all can probably work toward common goals, even if sometimes we disagree on some of the particulars. So I think listening and understanding.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. What are some ideas to increase engagement in underserved communities?
I would. This is going to sound. I will say this. I had a hard time navigating the website. I'm just trying to learn as much as I possibly could in preparing for this, and even applying. When I saw the invitation to apply, I think making sure that your communication out into the community is reaching a wide audience, and I think that's one tool. Other tools I think are, I see community events around town, making sure that you've got a presence there. So I'm not sure if you've got a booth at the farmers market, but that might be a really great way to engage in people who might not necessarily, know that there's a meeting here tonight, and that there are opportunities, to engage with the city, Big C city, because they're engaging in their communities already. And so going out into the community and meeting people where they are, I think is probably one of the things that I found most helpful when I was serving on a city council, is, making sure that, I'm building relationships, that you're building relationships with the school district and the parent affinity groups there, and, some of the other affinity groups that might be in town. I know the connections with the college, could be a place where, that could be strengthened. I'd say look around at the resources, the communities that are already sort of doing a lot of work. I know that there's a strong Rotary group. There's the Forest Grove Foundation. There's lots of people sort of doing their good work in their spheres, and so looking for those opportunities to sort of like cross the line and really make that Venn diagram as messy as possible.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
I do. I guess maybe my question would be, if the process that you've sort of established here for filling, the seats that are available. I was browsing, some of the other boards and commissions, and I kind of checked off a few that I might be interested in and where I have some experience serving before. And so if, as you're filling these spots and you hear from people who might have interest in maybe more than one board or commission, what's that process look like?
Yeah, so let me explain a little bit about what happened right now in the spring, early summer recruitment is typically we recruit in the fall. So October, like September, we'll go out, we'll put out the promotions, and we'll do one big application process. We had a few boards of commission, like HLB, I think has 4 members, right? So we had some that were really low. So we made a decision to try to do for lack of better phrasing, like a spontaneous recruitment to fill those spots. So in the past, what we've done is when people are interested in multiple, we'll see, their priority. We'll see if we can fit them. We have a few members of the community that are on multiple ones, if it worked out that way. If we have enough, we definitely want to have as many people engaged and involved as possible. So we'll usually do a first choice, a second choice. So with that being said, if there was something that you saw on the website, you could definitely apply for that in the fall, right? If that was more of a fit for you, or which one was it that you were thinking? Just out of curiosity.
I had also checked off the Planning Commission.
Is that something you are interested in? Is the
course.
Planning Commission? Because it's not listed on here. Okay. Is it?
It's
Oh,
on
it
here.
is.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm like, it's really hard. I just ordered readers like literally a month ago, and I don't know exactly when to put them on or
I
not.
was just sitting
'Cause
there
then if I-
regretting not bringing my readers, so
Yeah,
I feel
I'm like,
you.
wait, I can't see if they're on too much, and then when I need them, I'm like, oh my goodness. At some point, I'll get better with the readers.
But
Okay,
no,
cool.
I think I understand. So if
So
there
which
are
is your
other
first choice?
opportunities-
Is CCE your first choice?
yeah, I think community. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, cool. So do you know the process? Like we'll deliberate and then city staff will call you and let you know. Okay, cool.
Thank
It was
you.
so
It's
nice meeting you.
all of you. Oh, and I didn't want to interrupt the process, but my husband I'd be remiss if I didn't. The name is Falconer, not
Oh,
Falconer.
Falconer.
No, please don't apologize.
No, it's okay. And I was like saying that Falconer. Okay, got it.
Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Sorry about that. It's nice meeting you as well. So is Eva Conway still no go? So we're gonna keep going down the list. Zach Franson. Oh, cool. Let's see if did I say your name correctly? Oh, sometime.
Are you doing this for CCE?
So first choice is Planning Commission.
Maybe sure.
Okay, hi. Thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the City Council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. And we're going to start with Councilor Gustafson.
Hi, Mr. Franson. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
So this is the first time ever for applying or getting involved, but I feel as a member of the community that it's important to if you want to help out in your community to start with this and see where it goes.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
That's okay.
Yeah, don't try not to be nervous. You
We're
see,
sitting at the dining room table. Just
and
chatting.
I make a lot of mistakes, and I'll just keep trying to do that to help you. Just be like, it's
Thank you.
So how are you vested in Forest Grove?
So me and my wife moved out here 4 years ago, and now we have 2 daughters, and my oldest daughter will be starting into kindergarten this coming fall, and so she's a stay-at-home mother, works part-time, at the house, and then I work construction over in Hillsborough at Intel.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening. My question for you is, please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
So I think bouncing ideas off of one another, and finding the best way to get to a solution, and moving forward and taking everybody's ideas into consideration and trying to apply them how we can.
Thank you.
All right. What is your vision about Forest Grove's future development and redevelopment?
So I feel that with all of it seems like there's more and more home building going on around here, which is great. I kind of feel like more infrastructure is needed surrounding that. Maybe another grocery store, things like that. Gas stations. I don't know exactly how many there is, but it seems like there's few and far between. But a lot of houses being built out here, which again is great. Just accommodating the city to handle that influx in people.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, thank you.
Okay, and I have a question for you. So I don't know if you heard me mention this, but one of our commissions is short on numbers. It's our Historic Landmarks Board.
Yeah.
And they work with we have 5 historic neighborhoods in Forest Grove, and so they set like the regulations, the policy, do education outreach. So I'm wondering if you aren't accepted for the planning or CCE, if you would be interested in serving on that board and commission.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Great. And that's a quarterly meeting, so they meet 4 times a year.
Okay.
On Thursday at 6:30.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you all
coming
for
in.
your
Thank
time.
you for
Yeah.
applying.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then is Mr. Richards on Zoom? Are we early? We're a little early for him. Okay. We have we'll just
3
check.
minutes.
3 minutes?
Not bad.
I have a question.
Yes, Councilor Valenzuela.
Yes, I would like to know who is the person that withdrew their application today.
Oh, number 7 on the list, Vanessa Savage.
Okay,
And
okay.
she was applied for EDC and Planning Commission.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. It is so.
Of course you would. Funny thing was, everybody who's we would have.
moving on.
Well, I don't know. Well, his time is 6:05. So it's 6:04
Oh,
for
God.
the guy that we're, so I'd rather wait till 6:07. Well, I mean, I think when Miss Holden did, I think she just walked in, so we'll give her. a minute. Yeah. Hello. No, we're gonna start. We have an appointment at 6:05 on Zoom, so we're just trying to figure out when is the sweet spot to move on or not move on. Thank you, though. They play at 6:07. 6:07. We'll move on. Great. Are you guys okay if we skip?
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna move on. And if Brad comes in the Zoom waiting room, we'll circle back to him. But if I could have Miss Gwen Hilden come up, there's a seat right in front of the microphone up here. That'd be great. Thank you. Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Oops, wrong script. See, I'm like, where's that guy now? Okay, so thank you for applying to serve on the Forest Grove board, on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the City Council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in the public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. And we're going to start with Counselor Gustafson on that end and kind of move this way on Zoom and then over.
Hi, Ms. Hilden. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
I grew up in Forest Grove, but I've spent my entire career in downtown Portland until about 2 years ago. And this is exciting to be able to do more work in my community. It's always, I haven't been as connected to Forest Grove as much as I've wanted to in the past. Now all of a sudden I'm surrounded by names and familiar places, and it's pretty exciting. But we love it here. My kids are in college now. I've got time, and we're excited. My husband and I aren't ready for retirement, but this is definitely where we want to be, and I want to maybe help model some of that forward.
Great, thank you.
I love it here. So
How are you vested in Forest Grove? And you've already told us some, if there's anything you can expand on.
gosh, well, I mean, it goes back. I'm fourth generation. Great grandparents and everything moved out here, so I'm pretty I'm invested. I mean, I really care about what's going on with some of the trail cleaning up out by Salmonberry, and so everything around here is, I think, important. I want to see it grow and thrive. I'd love to, see another grocery store like everybody else, but it'd be nice to see Forest Grove continue growing and growing the right way.
Thank you.
Good evening. My question to you is, please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
I work both on my own in my role at the bank, but also as a group. So sometimes there's a lot of work being done for the greater good, if that makes sense. Especially over the last few years, since 2008 onward, the banks have been working hard to take care of our clients, but also mitigate risk for the bank. So there's a lot of collaboration that goes on in doing that to try to take care of your clients, but take care of your employer also. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And I have the last one for you. From an economic development rather than a business operations perspective, what do you see as the most pressing issue facing Forest Grove? And what do you see as the city's role in addressing that issue?
As for economic development?
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing a lot of people move out here, by the Forest Grove High School and such. I suppose being able to provide even more employment to keep those people from having to get onto Highway 26, and so I suppose jobs, I would imagine.
Right. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
I don't. I've had a chance to attend some of the EDC luncheons, so I'm learning more than I ever thought I would, and so I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of good people there, and yeah, I'm just excited. It's such a beautiful town. So
Oh, thank you. I think so too. Thank you so much. And I'm glad to hear that you've been going to, and I noticed Miles, our EDC coordinator, when you brought up the grocery store, it's like, is he choking back there? It's like he felt the pressure
Miles
from the
here?
back of the room. Yeah, he's right back there.
he sure is. Sorry, Miles.
No, I thought it was so funny. I was like, oh, what's going on back there? He's a little uncomfortable.
It'll be curious. So, what does a grocery store look like to me versus somebody else? What does that mean? It'd be really interesting. I'd love to hear more about what the community wants.
Great, thank you. So we will deliberate after all of our interviews finish, and then Joyce will be contacting you shortly.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you all
great.
for
Thank
your
you so
time.
much. Thank you for coming in. And I do not see any Zoom attendees, so I don't think that Brad is still here. So then, is there a Marcus Petaway? Petway? Mm.
He was also supposed to be on
Oh,
Zoom.
on Zoom. Oh, I could read that next to. Thank you.
That's for 10
They
minutes.
take a little getting
early.
used to.
I don't like. I just don't even having serious issues. Okay, so I guess that's 23. Is it, Jesse? Can I ask a question? Can I ask a follow-up question of someone that already interviewed? Okay, Miss Falconer, would you be willing to serve on planning as a first choice? Okay, I was just curious. We're gonna deliberate in a little bit, but
Coming up to the microphone to make sure, yes.
yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Falconer. Miss Falconer. All right. Thank you.
Oh.
Like, but the best was he pulled it out of the monitor. Like,
You got
where they
upset
were
with
last
me
night.
for bringing cookies one night. So it's like,
I love it.
mm.
I took my kids. The weather, like, they play volleyball. Sometimes it works. Can we skip and interview Claudia now? Claudia, are you good with that? So you can go home? Okay,
Yeah, right.
come on up, Claudia.
That's a good idea.
I was like, wait, I feel like we could be doing something. Claudia's like looking at me like, I want to go eat dinner too. Like, let me get out of here. It took me a little bit. It's the last week of school. I'm just,
Right.
I'm kind of in the midst of chaos. Okay. So, thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the City Council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is about 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 minutes. And we're going to start with Councilor Gustafson.
Hi, Ms. Yakos. I'm sure you can recite the script that the mayor has been reading. All right. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
I think for me, this opportunity, I see it as a collective. So as the chamber director, I see it as an opportunity for me to pull the voice of close to 300 businesses. So for me, it's really important to advocate for the businesses. And I think, we are here to help support our economic development, so that our businesses have an opportunity to find ways to be creative, especially in, hard times, but at the same time to build collaboration with the city and partners, large employers, to make sure that, we're headed in the right direction. So it's a lot of collaboration, partnership, and networking.
Great. Thank you.
So the next question seems a little silly because we know quite a bit about you, but for the record, would you tell us how you are vested in Forest Grove?
So, as many of you know, I have 4 children. My husband and I are empty nesters now, and we raised our kids here in Forest Grove. They've gone through the school system. I have a business that I've had out here for over 24 years, and I'm a long 20-year plus Rotarian. So for me, the service above self and doing things in this community is very, very important. So definitely vested in making sure that we can make it the best place that we can for our residents and our community members, and find ways to engage and motivate people to stay and make it less of a bedroom community.
Thank you.
So, Claudia, good to see you. Please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
I think one of the things that's very important for consensus building is to be patient and respectful. And again, coming to this particular board and commission, it is once again looking at the collective voice of what makes sense for the outcome. And it's looking at the big picture more so than maybe personal views. It's really about looking to see what is going to be the best outcome for whatever it is that we're trying to make a decision, whether it means that, the side that I'm leaning towards, has the outcome, or whether it is that we're doing exactly what's best for the future of the decision that we're going to make. So it's really just not being reactive, but really trying to step back and look at the big picture, and really not look at necessarily the words in heated conversations, but to actually try to understand what it is that they're trying to say, despite of maybe the tonality of what's coming through.
All right. Thank you very much.
From an economic development rather than a business operations perspective, what do you see as the most pressing issue facing Forest Grove? And what do you see as the city's role in addressing the issue?
I guess part of the good thing about going last is I heard this question, and it really got me thinking about this. And I did write a couple of notes on this. For me, I think some of the pressing issues are definitely the need for sustainable growth that really balances the economic opportunities for the quality of life. So by that, I mean things like infrastructure development, the housing affordability, the workforce development. I think that the city's role is going to be super pivotal in being strategic And I think we're at a great place with the visioning that's going to be happening. So it's really exciting. It's an exciting time, that we get to look into the future and start mapping out what those next years for us are going to be. But I think for me, those are really those three: the infrastructure development, the housing affordability, and the workforce development is huge.
Thank you.
I think I answered.
Do you have any questions for us?
No, I think I just would like to say part of the thing that I feel is going great at this moment is just, from a city standpoint, what I see is a lot of collaboration, a lot of working with the larger partners. I liked seeing that the school district had Pacific University and the city of Cornelius and all the big players, really communicating. I think that's very, very important. And I feel like it's what's going to allow, the city, the boards and commissions to really move in a very positive, forward, friendly, way. And also, I think for the community, it's showing that a lot of the communication is coming out, and I like that. So I agree with somebody that mentioned the website. I think, just making sure that we have the in language and all of that information, I think is just moving in the right direction. So not a question, just a comment.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so Joyce will be getting a hold of you soon.
Yeah.
Eva, come on up. Oh, it's okay. Come, things happen. It's fine. Hi. So thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the city council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in the public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. And just for my colleagues, Eva's applying for the CCE, Committee for Community Engagement. Okay, so we're going to start with questions from Councilor Gustafson, Councilor Martinez, Councilor Valenzuela, and then Councilor Marshall. Okay, so go ahead, and this is really informal, so it's, yeah.
Why did you want to serve on a board or commission?
Well, I've lived in the community now off and on for 11 years. I work at community school, and I've really grown to love Forest Grove. And it was brought to my attention by a friend, Marnie, and that Forest Grove needed people to offer to serve on these different committees. So I looked at the committees, and the Community Engagement Committee kind of piqued my interest a little bit. I have a lot of experience with volunteering, but not in this community so much. I volunteered with the lunch program, and I teach at the school. But I don't know, I thought that it might be really nice to connect with some local people, and that I might maybe be able to help out the community a little bit.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Councilor Valenzuela, we're going to go to you next.
Okay. Good evening. Please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
Gosh, well, I think the main setting that I've done this in is school, and to be honest, it hasn't been easy when we've done it at school, right? It takes a lot of discussion of the different pros and cons of whatever the topic is that you're discussing, and eventually it seems that it comes down to looking at what it is you're trying to achieve, and looking at what solutions might achieve the outcomes that you hope for, and being willing to compromise a little bit, and keeping an open mind so that you don't get stuck in kind of what you came to the table thinking was the answer, the solution to whatever it was you were trying to achieve consensus on. So being willing, able to compromise a little bit, listen to other people, explain, why you think that maybe your views are important.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you.
What are some ideas to increase engagement in underserved communities?
Ooh, so I've been thinking about this a lot over the past couple weeks, especially. Well, one I think is definitely volunteerism, getting people to realize that, that the people who are doing the volunteering aren't necessarily people who who also don't have needs. I think that I've worked in some communities. I worked in Hunters Point in San Francisco, and one of the big things was that community often felt like they were viewed as in need, right? And that there were these other people from the outside coming in to help. So helping and it really helped those people to see that they had something to give too. So helping everybody see that they have something to give, I think is one way. Sorry, can you tell me your question again? Get off.
What are some of the ideas to increase engagement in underserved communities?
Okay, so I was thinking about volunteering, right? Maybe having some kind of opportunity for people to learn about volunteer opportunities in the community, and like maybe a volunteer fair or something like that. I also, one of the things that I really like about Forest Grove is a farmer's market, and it's so fun on that night because everybody's out walking around. I feel like, and we did the garden tour on Sunday, which was really fun. I feel like more opportunities to get people out and kind of moving about the community and interacting with each other would be really good ones.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
No.
Really? I'm like, you can ask us anything.
I mean, I know I do, but so how large are these committees? And
So most committees have 9 members, and then a student rep can be on there as well. And then we also just are building out our MEAC, which can have a large Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, which will have a larger group. But 9 is on CCI.
okay. And what do you guys view as the desired outcome for the committee?
For CCE, you said CCI, but we literally just changed it. So for community involvement or engagement, I think the desired goal is just really like we did a communication master plan. So in the last few years, we've increased the literature going out to people. We revamped the website. Just like what came out recently, we're having more events. So it's just really like trying to continue our community engagement, right, and our values, and like making sure there's lots of different types of opportunities. Like I go to the farmers market once a month and have a booth so people can have informal conversations. I went to the barbecue at the police department. So it's like trying to make sure that we're supporting events, or CCE supporting the events, supporting the council goals and values, and that we're really just increasing communication.
Okay. And are you trying to increase attendance at already existing events? Would you like the committee to come up with a certain number of new events?
And we're gonna have to like wrap up pretty quickly.
Sorry.
But so the committee I was the liaison for that committee a few years ago, and they did quarterly town hall meetings. And what they found, so that was like their work plan that year or their goal for that year. But what they found is people were not attending. Like, so having more events to try to create community engagement wasn't hitting the mark. And so right now they're doing like a buddy system where they're going to other boards and commissions, trying to see what they're doing and just like really seeing how they can, I would say the word that I would use would be like enrich those activities, and the involvement and the engagement is their goals right now. It's like and they're trying to figure out where do they fit into, that sharing of knowledge and information.
Okay, so you're trying to get them to communicate with the other committees.
Yeah.
And
that's what they're doing right now.
Okay.
And they also do the ATM. They're the group that plans the annual town meeting, which will be in September this year. Okay, cool. Well,
Right.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make anybody wait around.
It's fine. We just kept rolling and then you came in and we're just flexible. We're all doing the best we can. So thank you for coming in and thank you for applying. So we have what, Brad Richards on Zoom? I don't know who RSC is.
I think that might be Brad, so I'm going to promote.
Okay, let's see.
Hello there. This is Brad. I apologize. The RSC is my corporation name. But yes, Bradley Richards, present and happy to be here.
Hello. Let me read you my script since it's public record, and then we'll get started, Brad. Okay, so thank you for applying to serve on a Forest Grove board or commission. As you may know, each board or commission is advisory to the City Council and plays an important role in assuring public involvement in the public policy process. Today's interview is to meet with you and help us learn more about how and why you would like to serve. Each interview is 6 minutes and will include 3 to 4 questions. Okay, so we're going to start with Councilor Gustafson.
Hi there. Why do you want to serve on a board or commission?
You know, primarily, I am able to now with my work schedule. And I've served on a tinnitus board. It's a committee for my profession it's a board certified hearing aid specialist. And I've done a lot of work in California as an expert witness. And I wasn't on the board in California, but I worked with the board and some of the education committees and really enjoyed it, ma'am. And that's really where that's at. Forest Grove is a newer home to me. I've lived in Oregon and Forest Grove since 2017, but love the community. I'm planning roots. It's my forever home. I have a beautiful duplex there. So those combinations of being able to now via Zoom and my work schedule and part of Forest Grove and really enjoying and wanting to know more about it in any capacity are the reasons.
Are there any other ways that you can tell us about how you're vested in Forest Grove?
Well, my daughter went to Pacific. She then could have come back to California, where I raised her in the Bay Area, and decided to stay. Went to Lewis and Clark, and she's in Lake Oswego, and so her and my son are there, and love it. And I'm going to be where they're at. Period. But also, because of them, I've put down roots and bought a property that I'm in love with, and will be there. And it's so a chance to really be my forever place and involved in a community that reminds me a lot of where I grew up in a town called Morgan Hill, California, where I was raised by my family. And I see a lot of similarities, and that's where I want to be. And I really want to be involved in it. And this is almost a fresh start coming in to get a chance to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Please describe how you work to achieve consensus within a group.
Respectful of everyone's opinion. You know, I've come and in some of the other committees I've served on, for lack of a better term, that there were groups. I was a subject matter expert and an expert examiner for the State of California Hearing Aid Board. So I would work with 7 other audiologists. I am not an audiologist, but these were people where I had to form some strong opinions at times with things that I wholeheartedly agreed in and wanted to interject my professionalism and what I feel are good points into the conversation, but also really respecting, doing a lot of listening and being open to diverge from any one way if it meets the end goal of the particular function.
Thank you.
Yes.
What is your vision about Forest Grove's future development and redevelopment?
Well, I'll be honest, councilman, I want to learn more to find out exactly what, I guess the strategic thinking of Forest Grove is. And I would assume for it to still uphold those values, the community that it is right now, but I know there's a ton of new growth. I've been following that. But I'll be honest with you, I would love to know, and it's why I chose the Planning Commission. But I would assume growth that's needed and inevitable, but controlled, measured, fair, and ultimately allows Forest Grove to prosper.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks. This is Mayor Wenzel. I have a comment and then a question. So we are actually just listening to some of your answers. I just want to let you know that we are currently looking at a 2040 visioning plan. And if that's something you're interested in, there's going to be community engagement and a task force with that as well. I just want to give you a heads up with that. You can go on our website to get communication on that. And then my question to you is, separate from planning, but also has a little bit of some planning implications, is our Historic Landmarks Board. And I was wondering, would you be interested or willing to serve on that board or commission?
You know, I would be open to that, Mayor, in the capacity of if it fulfills where I see growth and for, for me, but that sounds very interesting. So I would certainly be open to hearing about that.
Okay, cool. And then, Ms. Richards, do you have any questions for us?
No, I will do my due diligence and like the 2040 plan, where I'm sure I'll have some. But this was great that it came up to be able to have an option here to chat with you and look at some of these boards coming up. I humbled for it and am serious about it, want to learn more. And so I'll do my research on my end, so to speak. But no questions at this time, ma'am.
Okay. It looks like Councilor Valenzuela has a question.
Yes, I have one more question. Would you be interested in serving in another board and commission, such as the Economic Development Commission?
Yes, Councilwoman, I would. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so Mr. Richards, what's going to happen is we're going to deliberate following this meeting. You can stay online and listen if you would like. Then we will come to consensus and give staff some direction, and then staff will reach out to you and follow up with what we decided.
Thank you so much for the time and your professionalism. I look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thanks. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Likewise.
Okay, thank you. According to my records, we've interviewed everybody. Like, not Marcus Petaway. Is Marcus Petaway never? That's a no-show. That was EDC. Do we know on the EDC, before we get started, Jesse, do we know on the EDC spots what roles the vacancies are in? You know how there's like small business, downtown business?
No, great question. So of the two applicants that were interviewed for EDC, Gwen Hilden and Claudia Yakos, one is specific for the chamber director.
Okay, so that's a check.
Claudia, or specific for the Chamber of Commerce, excuse me. And the other one is for a finance rep.
Okay, so the commercial
as
banking.
a commercial banking rep
Perfect.
that fulfills that role.
Okay. Is there consensus from the council to appoint Ms. Gwen Hilden and Ms. Claudia Yakos to the EDC? Can I get a thumbs up or a hand raise? Okay, so those two. And then Miss Araha, Arakawa. Arakawa. Okay, she's highlighted. Is she out of Forest Grove School District?
Out of
she's
Forest
out-
Grove in the school district.
Okay, so
No, she's within the school district, right?
right, so she's then fine. Okay, because remember, like we switched the rules, right? So that gets confusing. I think as long as they're in the school district, they're compliant. So we don't really need to have that highlighted. I don't think, because it fits within our criteria. For me, that would just make it easier. Okay, so I thought both of the Forestry Commission people were, I mean, one's a reappointment. It looked like in the packet that he tried to reapply and just missed the deadline. And so, anyways, is there consensus for the forestry?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we have planning and CCE left. So I want to throw a curveball, not really a curveball, but I want to throw my opinion out first. I would like to see Miss Falconer go on planning, and Eva and Zach go on CCE, and then Brad Richards go on HLB. And my reasoning for that is based on our interview and reading the packet and looking at experience, planning, just the experience that Ms. Falconer has in previous roles. Planning is like, there's so much to learn about land use and our code, and the skill set to be able to jump into that. I really am excited to see new people come to town and want to participate, but it's a heavy lift if you haven't done it before. And in the last few years, we've had some turnover in that department or in that commission. So anyways, that would be my recommendation would be to put Eva on CCE, Zach on CCE, Angel on Planning Commission, and then Brad Richards on HLB. So any discussion on that?
My only concern would be is that was
Yeah.
her third choice.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, I know. But I did call her back up and ask her, and she said yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, is it okay with you, or would you rather have CCE?
Okay.
It's okay with the applicant.
Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry. Where did you say Zach? You wanted to put him?
I would put
HLB?
his second choice as CCE.
Oh, CC. Oh,
And
that's
that's
right.
like yeah.
Okay.
So Eva's first choice was CCE, and then Zach's first choice was Planning Commission, and then second was CCE.
Okay.
And then Brad said he would be. I just don't think I heard Councilor Valenzuela ask about EDC, but I don't know what he would fit into. So EDC's has pretty.
Right.
Is there a place for Brad to fit into EDC, Jesse? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was pressing the button. As an education manager, no, there's not. So there's not a spot that's dedicated on the board for that type of position. So
Correct. So I think HLB, and then if he wants to go on the task force for 2040,
Okay.
there's an option for that too.
Sounds good.
Is there consensus for what I proposed? And then, but I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot, Ms. Falconer, but be real honest. Like, are you happy to be on planning, or would you rather be on CC? Okay, great. I really appreciate it.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So consensus, Councilor Valenzuela, thumbs up. Okay, so staff, do you need anything more from us?
just to make sure, I just want to confirm what the consensus appointments are.
Okay.
So,
Oh, my
for
readers.
Sashi Arakawa, CFC, Michael Howell, CFC,
That's amazing.
Eva Conway McGuire, CCE, Angel Falconer, Planning Commission, Zach Franzen, CCE, Brad Richards, HLB, Gwen Hilden, EDC, Claudia Yakos, EDC. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I have too. Okay, with that, this work session is adjourned. like to call to order this meeting of the Forest Grove City Council at 7 o'clock on June 10th. Will our city recorder please call roll?
Council President Rippey,
Absent, excused.
Councilor Gustafson,
Here.
Councilor Martinez,
Here.
Councilor Marshall,
Here.
Councilor Valenzuela,
Here.
Councilor Ewing,
Absent, excused.
Mayor Wenzel.
Here. Forest Grove City Council meetings are located on the land of the Tualatin Kalapuas, who call themselves the Atfalati. They are now part of the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde. Will the audience and council please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Audience members, council, folks watching on TV and Zoom. Over the last 2 years of being mayor, I've had the great opportunity of meeting lots of different individuals who pair their interests with service. Earlier this year, the Tualatin Valley Harmony Masters reached out to me and said, hey, come and listen to us practice. And I did, and I had the best time. They do little Valentine singing, I don't know the exact words, but like they do like, what is it when you travel around like door to door? Singing Valentines, thank you. Thank you. See, they fill in for the mayor when she doesn't know how to speak. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary and performed at Pacific University on June 1st. So I would like to invite them to come up in front of the dais and share their tunes with us. To come up this way and then face this so that way you're on TV. Please and thank you. Thank you guys so much for
so
coming.
good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Have a nice night. You guys are the best. Thanks. I'm going to head down for proclamations. Spot the readers, because proclamations, is this on? No. No, I can't see you when I look at you, though. The problem with the readers is you can't see far away. Testing, testing. I think we're good. Okay. Put the readers back on. June 19th, 2024. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring enslaved people forever free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States. And whereas on June 19th, 1865, Union troops marched through Galveston, reading to the people of Galveston that all slaves were free. And the formerly enslaved citizens in Galveston rejoiced in the streets with jubilant celebrations. And whereas June 19th, Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, is a day to celebrate the end of slavery and the advancement of equality and justice in the United States. And whereas Juneteenth celebrates African American freedom and achievement while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all cultures. And whereas in 2021, Juneteenth was made a federal holiday. House Bill 2168 was signed by Governor Kate Brown in Oregon for Juneteenth to become a state holiday the following year in 2022. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Forest Grove does hereby proclaim June 19th, 2024 as Juneteenth in Forest Grove, Oregon, Washington County, and urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of the celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation. It is our responsibility to ensure racial justice, equity, equality in Forest Grove and around the world. Okay, our next proclamation is for Pride Month, June 2024. Whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ Pride Month is currently celebrated each year in the month of June to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan. And whereas the City Council's goals are for Forest Grove to be an inclusive community that promotes equity, diversity, and access and creating a meaningful quality of life for everyone. And whereas we recognize, support, and appreciate the invaluable contributions of members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit LGBTQIA2S+ community. And whereas we remain steadfast in the dedication to eliminate the prejudice and discrimination faced by members of the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Whereas we believe the rich diversity of communities in Forest Grove is one of our greatest strengths. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Forest Grove does hereby proclaim June 2024 as Pride Month in Forest Grove, Oregon, Washington County, and urge citizens, businesses, organizations, and agencies to respect and honor our diverse community, celebrate a culture of inclusivity and acceptance. Thank you very much. Item B on our agenda is public comment. Time provided for anyone wishing to speak to City Council on an item not on the agenda or on the agenda but not scheduled for a public hearing. Comments are limited to 2 minutes unless additional time is granted by the presiding officer. The public comment period shall not exceed 30 minutes unless a majority of councilors present vote to extend the time. Zoom attendees may use the raise hand option to be called on. Are there any people in the audience for public comments? Seeing none, any on Zoom for public comment wishing to use the raise hand feature? The council did receive written public comment and it's included in the packet. Okay, what is the wish? Oh, wait, nope, kind of got ahead of myself. Consent, item C, consent agenda. Items under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be adopted with a single motion without separate discussion. Councilors who wish to remove an item from the consent agenda may do so prior to the motion. Any item or items removed will be discussed and acted upon following the approval of the remaining items. What is the wish of the city council?
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second?
Think.
Somebody second?
Yep. The consent agenda was moved by Councilor Martinez and seconded by Councilor Marshall. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say aye. Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Moving on to item D on our agenda is additions or deletions. City Manager, do you have any additions or deletions?
No additions or deletions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any proposed by council? Seeing none. There are no presentations this evening, so we are going to move on to item F, which is public hearings, ordinances, and resolution. Coming up to the, the hot seat is our Assistant City Manager and Finance Director, Mr. Paul Downey, and it's resolution number 2024-17, 2024-18, and 2024-19.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors. This staff report will cover all three of the resolutions. The first resolution is to adopt the fiscal year 24-25 budget.
Wait a minute. Do I need to open the public hearing?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
Staff report.
Okay.
Then to second resolution is to levy and categorize taxes for fiscal year 24-25, and the third resolution is to make appropriations for fiscal year 24-25. The Budget Committee approved the budget on May 7th in the amount of $160,325,198. Staff is proposing one change to the budget of adding $350,000 in the non-departmental section of the general fund for a summer recreational program that the Parks and Recreation Department will be contracting with from the Forest Grove School District, who is receiving the funds from the state of Oregon for summer opportunities for district students. The city will incur expenses for intermittent labor, supplies, contract services, and food and beverage expenses. There are no city funds budgeted for this activity. We budgeted these funds in this department as we did not want to mix these funds with the city's regular recreation budgeted dollars. The other thing we wanted to make the council aware of is over the next few months, you may be seeing some amendments in the Light and Power Fund budget, as we may be having to do some improvements to the Forest Grove and Filbert substations and some line extensions for proposed investments resulting from industrial development. They could be significant, and there will be no taxpayer funds used for these, but the improvements may be upwards of $12 million. So that's all the staff has. So I will take any questions council may have.
I'm going to open the public hearing on resolution 2024-17, 2024-18, and 2024-19. If approved by the City Council, these resolutions will adopt the budget, levy taxes, and make appropriations for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Do any councilors have a conflict of interest to declare?
No.
Okay, we just received the staff report. Does the council have any questions for staff? Any questions about the budget? Okay, public hearing. I will now call on persons who signed up to comment on the resolutions. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Are there any proponents who would like to testify? Any on Zoom? I don't see any. Okay, any opponents? And any other comments? There was no testimony, so I'm assuming staff would not like to respond to any testimony. I'm going to now close. The hearing is now, the hearing is now closed. Now gavel. Is there a motion from council to approve the resolutions?
I move to approve resolution 2024-17, 2024-18, and 2024-19.
I second.
Thank you. Resolutions 2024-17, 2024-18, 2024-19 was moved by Councilor Gustafson and seconded by Councilor Martinez. Are there any additional discussion or questions from council? I just have one comment to say. You know, I brought this up at the last two years at budget meetings, and I think, you know, when we're looking at our operating budget, we are, you know, there's conflicting things, right? We're meeting the needs of having green spaces and parks within a certain distance of every neighborhood, but we have not addressed the operational, you know, the maintenance part of it. The maintenance in parks, I'm going to bring it up again here. I want it on the public record, but we really need to, and I know we're doing the Parks and Rec fee assessment, the fee study, but we really need to come up with our policy, our metrics. We have other policies and metrics which keep us within a certain percentage of the median salaries, the different things. There's work the council can do to make sure, you know, when I went to Rogers Park for the barbecue, like it did not look like it had been maintained, and we had the garden walk going on, but, you know, and then the barbecue with the blue. So I just want to put that's just my discussion, as I really think that needs some work in that area. That's my only discussion. Any other discussion or points? Okay, will the city manager please read the resolution by title only?
Resolution number 2024-17, adopting budget for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. Resolution number 2020. Did you want to vote on each one separately and then I'll read the next one? Or do you want me to go ahead and just read all three? I'll just read all three.
What does staff recommend?
I'll just read all three and then, yeah. Resolution number 2024-18, levying and categorizing taxes for the city of Forest Grove, Washington County, Oregon, for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. And last, resolution number 2024-19, making appropriations for the city of Forest Grove, Washington County, Oregon, for fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. And will the city recorder do a roll call vote for each resolution, please? Okay, great. Thanks.
Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes. Resolution 2024-17 was approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a 5-0 vote.
Council President Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes, the vote is 5-0. Resolution 2024-18 is approved.
Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes. Resolution 2024-19 has been approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Thank you. We're going to now move on to public hearing for resolution 2024 wait, hang on.
No.
I will now open the public hearing on resolutions 2024-20 and 2024-21. If approved by the City Council, these resolutions will certify the services the city will provide and declare the city election to receive state revenues. Do any councilors have a conflict of interest to declare? Seeing none. Staff, can we have the report, please?
Yes, the city needs to also, as you said, is certify services and also like to participate. Before we can do that, we have to hold two public hearings. One was held at the Budget Committee on April 29th, and the second will occur tonight when, as you this public hearing you're holding right now. Fiscal year 24-25, city's projected to receive $585,183 in alcohol tax revenue, $19,561 in cigarette tax revenue, $45,500 in state marijuana tax revenue, $186,221 in state revenue sharing, and about $2.2 million in state gasoline tax revenue. And for budgetary purposes, we put these in various departments within the general fund, except for the gas tax, which, as by state law, is budgeted 99% to the street fund and 1% to the bike and pedway fund, bike path fund. And so if the city decides not to accept these shared revenues, you'll have a little about over $1 million hole in the general fund you'll have to make up either through cuts or using reserves. And in the street fund, we would have to maintain heavily curtail road maintenance. So I'll take any questions council may have.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, I will now call on persons who signed up to comment on the resolutions. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Are there anyone who would like to speak who's a proponent? Okay, anyone who would like to speak who's an opponent? And are there any additional comments? Okay, the hearing is now closed. Is there a motion from council to approve the resolutions?
I move to approve resolution number 2024-20 and 2024-21.
I second.
Okay. Resolutions number 2024-20 and 2024-21 was moved by Councilor Gustafson and seconded by Councilor Martinez. Will the city, is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, will the city manager please read the resolutions by title only?
Resolution number 2024-20, certifying services provided by the City of Forest Grove, and Resolution 2024-21, declaring city's election to receive state revenues.
Thank you. And will the city recorder please call roll?
Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes, Resolution 2024-20 is approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Want to do both? We do both. Yeah.
Did you want them separate?
Mhm.
Okay. Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
And Mayor Wenzel?
Did you say yes? Yes. Resolution 2024-21 is approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Okay, moving on to resolution number 2024-22, adopting fiscal year 2024-29 capital improvements program. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Downey.
Thank you. This is to adopt the capital improvement program for fiscal year 2024 through 2029. Capital improvement plan forms the basis of the capital projects the city is planning to accomplish over the next 5 years. Projects funded by SDC funds need to be listed in the capital improvement in order for SDC funds to be expended on those projects. CIP was presented to and approved by the Budget Committee, and staff's not approving any changes to the plan as it was approved by the Budget Committee. And the projects that are budgeted in the fiscal year 24-25 budget are reflected in the appropriate column of the capital improvement plan. So take any questions the council may have.
Any questions for staff? Okay, what is the wish of the city, of the council?
Move that we pass 2024-22. That's the one we were on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Thank you. Resolution number 2024-22 was moved by Councilor Martinez and seconded by Councilor Gustafson. And now we will have discussion from the council. You know, I'm just going to say things intermittently, but the way, this is my 10th budget, I want to say, and I just think you do a really good job. Our capital improvement plan, our long-term planning, we're flexible, but I just think our budgets are always done really well, and I just want to say thank you to Paul and Melissa and Jesse and the whole staff, because it really is a team effort. I mean, there's a heavy load from our finance department, but when you meet with people regionally who might not have a capital improvement program, you realize how important they are. Okay, then, will the city manager please read the resolution by title only?
Resolution number 2024-22, adopting fiscal year 2024-29 capital improvements program.
Thank you. And will the city recorder please call for the vote?
Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel.
Yes, resolution number 2024-22, adopting fiscal year 2024 through 29 capital improvements program has been approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Okay, and now we're moving on to resolution number 202. I will now open the public hearing on resolution 2024-23. If approved by the City Council, the resolution will adopt the capital improvements program excise tax for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Do any councilors have a conflict of interest to declare? Seeing none, the staff have a report.
Yes. This is for the CIP excise tax renewal for the fiscal year 24-25. The CIP excise tax was initiated by ordinance in 1990. It restricts the use of the revenue generated by the CIP excise tax to the government, general government and public safety programs within the CIP. The code requires the tax to be renewed on an annual basis by the Budget Committee and approved by the City Council each year. If the tax is not reauthorized, the city cannot collect the revenue, and also we cannot exceed 5% increase in any 1 year or cumulatively 15%, 20% over a 5-year period. This tax is not covered by the annual fee adjustment for general fees. We started collecting the fee in 2004, and we last increased their rate, in 2014. We expect to collect about $400,000 in revenue next year. Of that, about $358,430 will be used to for the purchase of police vehicles and fire apparatus. Other proposed expenditures include purchase of AEDs for city facilities, controllers for the city's HVAC system, equipment for the aquatic center, and police vehicle radio upgrades. The CIP excise tax is accounted for in a separate fund to ensure that proceeds are spent as required. And if we don't renew this tax, then we're going to need to figure out how to a different funding source for police vehicles and fire apparatus. I will take any questions the council may have.
Any questions from council? Okay, seeing none, I will now call on persons who signed up to comment on the resolution. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Are there any proponents who would like to share public comment? Seeing none on Zoom either. Are there any opponents? Seeing none on Zoom either. Are there any additional or other comments? Seeing none. The hearing is now closed. Is there a motion from council to approve the resolution?
I move to approve resolution number 2024-23.
I second.
Thank you. Resolution number 2024-23 was moved by Councilor Gustafson and seconded by Councilor Martinez. Will the city manager read it by title only?
Resolution number 2024-23, adopting capital improvements program excise tax and repealing resolution number 2023-27.
I need to apologize. I didn't give space for discussion after the motion, so I'm apologizing. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Okay, and then the title, it was just read by title only. So will the city recorder please call roll?
Councilor Gustafson?
Yes.
Councilor Martinez?
Yes.
Councilor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel.
Yes, resolution number 2024-23 was approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Okay, moving on to resolution number 2024-24, setting fees and charges effective July 1st, 2024, and repealing resolution 2023-16. Oh, wait, I gotta open the public hearing. Hang on. I got too many papers. Okay. I will now open the public hearing on resolution 2024-24. If approved by the City Council, this resolution will set fees and charges for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Do any councilors have a conflict of interest? Seeing none. Does staff have a report?
Yes, by city code, they talked about adjusting the fees for general services by the amount of the consumer price index or the percentage of the wage adjustment for city employees. We prepared a resolution for council consideration with a 4% increase, which was the average overall increase being proposed for employees this year. And also it talks about a cost of service study. We are about to start that cost of service study. We're going to be issuing an RFP later this month. So probably next year at this time, the results will probably be basing fee changes based on the new fee, on the completed fee study at that point in time. So again, we prepared a 4% increase. Some fees have been rounded to eliminate change issues for some departments. Some fees have not been changed as they're set by the state, i.e. liquor licenses or other agencies such as WCCLS. Water meters over an inch are charged at actual cost, so no specific fee is set because those connections can take different lengths of time according to the site conditions. And the emergency cost recovery fee and charges for the fire department are not proposed to be increased at this point at this time. Some changes to fees are proposed. The engineering public improvements record and inspection fees are proposed to be modified so that public improvement records review fees cover 2 plan reviews for a project. So that would include the initial plan review and the review of the changes submitted by the developer based on the comments from our engineering department of the first review. Subsequent reviews will be charged on an hourly basis. Site reinspection fees will be added and charged on an hourly basis. This fee structure is similar to fees for other surrounding agencies, and it's designed to keep the engineering department from becoming part of the developer's design review process. We want the developer to propose the designs according to the code, not have the engineering department guide them through specifically what changes need to be made. We're also proposing 4% increases for all the parks and recreation fees, including the field rental fees until the parks fee study is completed. Proposed fee schedule continues the moratorium on collecting field rental fees. Any fee changes that result from the parks and recreation fee study will be included on an amended fee schedule that will be presented to the council for adoption later this year. The police fees we're adding the secondhand dealer licenses being added back to the fee schedule. For the city code, this is a separate process from the business licenses, and the police department processes the secondhand dealer's licenses. There used to be a fee, but for some reason it was removed, but we need to add it back on. And again, the fee for the park study is nearing completion and hopefully will be the subject of an upcoming work session with the council. And again, the fee study for all other fees, an RFP will be issued later this month for that fee study. So proposed fees, fiscal impact, proposed fee increases should increase overall fees to the city. However, the projected revenue increase is highly dependent on the volume of transactions we get. So take any questions council may have.
I have a follow-up question. Can you a little slower, is it just the field fees that we're not charging right now, but the pavilion fees we are what for?
We increased all fees by 4%, including all parks and recreation fees. Right now, there's a moratorium on field rental fees, but we went ahead and increased those fees by 4%, even though there's a moratorium on charging them. That way, we were consistent with the fee increases, even though we're not charging them. We're proposing increasing those fees by 4%, like all the other fees.
I'm going to rephrase it so I make sure I understand. We're sticking with our moratorium on field use fees, but in order to be consistent with what we're doing, we're raising it by 4%.
We're raising them, yes.
Okay. And what is our and then staff will bring us, once the rate and fees study's done, and we have some direction or some decision to be made, and the council makes a decision, will we be brought back something for fees?
For the parks and recreation fees, there'll be a work session because we're going to need to get council direction on the philosophy of charging the fees. Like for what fees do you want to subsidize to what percentage of any, and then the consultant and staff will come back with proposed fees based on the direction that gets from the council at that work session.
And is this also, I'm asking way too many questions, but is this also layered in with our consultant work with recreation, with Pacific Forest Grove School District and the city? I just feel like there's a nexus that we need to, they don't have to be, but they overlap a little bit. So
They do overlap. One of the things that we have pointed out for that forthcoming facilitator for those conversations is this study.
Okay, good.
So it will be one of the topics that'll be discussed within that focus group, if you will.
Cool. Thanks.
How long has that moratorium been going on for?
We put it into effect last July.
Last July?
Yes.
So we were charging, prior to that, we were charging field use.
Well, I think, I don't want to put
Hit and
words in
miss would
Director
be the
Lane's
best
mouth,
answer.
but I think it was inconsistent. And so I think when the council looked at kind of everything, they said, let's just pause on that fee for right now until we get this fee study done, and then we can look at this in a more kind of contextual and comprehensive way. And that moratorium remains in place today. So.
Any further questions for staff? Seeing none, I will now call on persons who signed up to comment on the resolution. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Are there any proponents? Seeing none on Zoom or in the audience, are there any opponents? Seeing none. Any other comments? Okay. The hearing is now closed. Is there a motion from council to approve the resolution?
I move 2024-24. We pass the resolution.
Second.
Thank you. Councilor Martinez moved resolution 2024 or 2024-24, and it was seconded by Councilor Gustafson. Is there any discussion from the council? Yeah, I think that just one comment I want to make is the fees for recreation. When I'm out, when I'm at the farmer's market or out and about, that's something that gets brought up a lot. So I just think that it's really important that we have a clear, consistent message. We're in the middle of the Parks and Rec fee study. We're doing work. We're going to have a recommendation. And my understanding, and I think that Director Lane's done a really good job too, is that she is also in contact with the chairs of these leagues, the president, like making sure there's information out. So that's what we can speak to, is just like, hey, we're in this process right now. And so this is what's going on as of right now. So I just think it's really important that we're consistent. Is that correct information, Jesse?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, so no further questions or discussions. Will the city manager please read the resolution by title only?
Resolution number 2024-24, setting fees and charges effective July 1st, 2024, and repealing resolution number 2023-16.
Will the city recorder please call roll?
Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes. Resolution number 2024-24 is approved by the Forest Grove City Council with a vote of 5-0. Now we are moving on to, let's make sure. Oh, no, it's not public hearing. Okay. We are moving on to resolution number 2024-25, transferring appropriations within various funds for fiscal year 2023-24. We'll have Mr. Downey with our staff report.
When we adopt the budget, it's based on a plan and based upon best estimates at the time the budget's adopted. So during the year, when anticipated events may occur and when actual expenditures become known. So it's fairly typical at the end of this year to make changes and modify the appropriations to make sure that the budget does not exceed the legal expenditure limit. And so we are permitted to transfer resolutions within the fund so the budgeted appropriations are not exceeded. We are proposing six adjustments this time. And when you see them, we don't necessarily need all the dollars there, but I just normally add a little bit of dollars there so we have a little bit of leeway. So when you see, for example, the library appropriations needs to be increased by $25,000, pay for changes in health insurance coverage as new employees took higher levels of insurance coverage in previous years. I might not need that whole 25,000, but I just wanted a little bit more of a buffer in there just in case something occurred during the month. Aquatic Center, second adjustment, Aquatic Center appropriations need to be increased by 50,000 due to intermittent employee wages being higher than anticipated, and again, changes in health insurance coverages for new employees who took higher levels of coverage than the previous employees. Intermediate employees are allocated between the Aquatic Center, Parks and Recreation, and the actual allocation of those employees in the Aquatic Center was different than the amount we had originally budgeted. Parks Department wages need to be increased by $30,000 due to employee wages being higher than originally budgeted and overtime incurred during the fiscal year. Fire Department appropriations need to be increased by $90,000 as actual wages are projected to be higher than the budgeted amount. Overtime from staff assigned to conflagration fires and other staff having to be called back in to cover the shifts of those firefighters assigned to the conflagration fires. All overtime incurred for conflagration fires is fully reimbursed by the state. Light and Power Fund, $865,000 transferred from contingency to pay for overtime pay for linemen who were assigned to mutual aid assistance during weather events, which was fully reimbursed by the utility to which they were sent to assist. And construction supplies purchased to install the electrical infrastructure for developments, which were paid for by the developer. And also in the Light and Power Fund, transfer $14,100 from contingency to debt service to account for the actual debt service interest paid versus the amount that was really budgeted. We just made an error on the original amount budgeted, so we're correcting that now. Those are the changes that staff is proposing, and we'll take any questions from the council.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
I move that we pass resolution 2024-25.
Second.
Thank you. Resolution number 2024-25 was moved by Councilor Martinez and seconded by Councilor Gustafson. Are there any discussion or questions from council? Again, I just want to say thanks to our amazing staff led by Paul and Melissa for all the work on the budget. Is a ton of work in a very busy time of year and with CEP and all that stuff too. So just a big thank you. Okay. And so will the city manager please read the resolution by title only?
Resolution number 2024-25, transferring appropriations within various funds for fiscal year 23-24.
And will the city recorder please call for the vote?
Councilor Gustafson?
Yes.
Councilor Martinez?
Yes.
Councilor Marshall? Yes. Councilor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes, resolution number 2024-25 was approved by the Forest Grove City Council with a vote of 5-0. Paul's officially out of the hot seat, and we're going to move on to economic development with Brian Pohl and Miles. Is it Glowacki? Okay, great. For resolution number 2024-26.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Brian Pohl, Community Development Director. And I'm just going to take a very high-level view of sort of what this is in front of you. If you want more detail, feel free to ask questions. But basically, the city has established, back in 2006, several areas for enterprise zones. And enterprise zones are a powerful economic development tool where a new company that's locating in Forest Grove can apply for a tax abatement, if you will, of 3 or 5 years. And whether they qualify for the 3 or 5 year depends on number of employees and average wages and things like that. And during that time, they don't pay any local taxes. That tax is abated. It's meant to kind of offset the cost of locating here, of providing jobs and things like that. Obviously, that ability or that sort of facet of abating these taxes has an impact on local jurisdictions, schools, things like that. In recognition of that, in 2023, the state legislature passed HB 2009, which made a lot of changes to these enterprise zones. Probably the most impactful locally was kind of a clawback, if you will, where if a company is granted a 5-year tax abatement under the enterprise zone, the local school district can actually, or is required to, I guess, enact some sort of tax payback from the company. And this happens directly from the company to the school district Oddly enough, the school district then sends it to the state, which is still kind of hard to process. But the school district then has to actually memorialize that percentage that can be between 15 and 30% as a resolution of the school district, and the city has to adopt or sort of sign off on concurrence with that. Through their resolution on May 28th, the local school district opted for the 15%, the lowest possible, in recognition that attracting companies and jobs is important here. And so what this does is basically allows the city manager to sign off on concurrence or sort of attestation, if you will, that we agree to this fee and we recognize this fee. If you have any questions, please let me know. That's about the best sort of high-level view I can give you of it, but happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, questions for staff? So I'm going to ask a question. So this is basically to make sure that we're aligned with the school district.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. And any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve resolution number 2024-26.
I second.
Thank you. Resolution number 2024-26 was moved by Councillor Gustafson and seconded by Councillor Martinez. Discussion from the council.
I just wanted to make comment that this is like a real spider webby type of thing, and you guys explained it really well, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did.
I was struggling before I got up here. I was like, okay, where does this go? But thank you. I appreciate that.
Very good. Okay, so no other discussion, comments? Will the city record, or nope, will the city manager please read this by title only?
Resolution number 2024-26, Enterprise Zone, authorizing the city manager to attest to Forest Grove School District Resolution 2324 R07.
And will the city recorder please call for the vote?
Counselor Gustafson?
Yes.
Counselor Martinez?
Yes.
Counselor Marshall?
Yes.
Counselor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes. Resolution number 2024-26 is approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a vote of 5-0. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And I don't see Miss Camille here, so I feel like Paul might be back in the hot seat. Okay, so we have Mr. Downey back with resolution number 2024-27.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Brenda's enjoying time with her new granddaughter, so I told her I would do this for her tonight. So there's two resolutions in front of you, and they're based on your executive sessions that you held on May 13th and May 28th to review and present the evaluation of the city manager. And of course, no action can be taken during executive session, so now you come out of executive session, and the first resolution is to accept the city manager's annual performance review. And the second resolution is authorizing compensation for the city manager for fiscal year 24-25. As you'll see right now, the resolution on 24-28 has blanks in it. As you discuss and decide what you want to do, we'll fill in those blanks, finalize the resolution, and then the city recorder will get you a clean, nice typed copy to sign. So I will turn it back over to the mayor to discuss if there's anything on the...
So the staff report was for both
resolutions.
Resolution number 2024-27 and...
So the first resolution is just accepting the performance review. So I'll turn that back over to you.
Yeah, so let's do resolution number 2024-27. Are there any questions for staff? Okay, is there a motion on the floor?
I move that we pass resolution 2024-27.
Second.
Thanks. Resolution number 2024-27 was moved by Councilor Martinez and seconded by Councilor Gustafson. Discussion. I want to say some things because I think, I don't know if a lot of people watch our city council meetings, but, our city staff led by, Jesse has done a phenomenal job this year. In the last year, some highlights, right? The time, place, and manner. We worked with the county on providing sheltered services to people that were living on the encampment off on Martin Road. We worked with the B Street encampment. We got Main Street program in economic development. We got 3 federal grants, which I've never, in the process of being on a council, I've seen that happen in 3 different areas, right? We have solar panels, TV highway improvement plan, right? We have a COPS grant. We did a cool e-bike rebate program. Our recreation program's building out. That's all because of a great staff. That is literally, we sit up here and people think like, oh, the city council needs to do this and this. But the way it works, and I don't mean to treat you all like 8th grade history students, but I'm going to go back 10 years when I taught 8th grade, that we make the policy, right? We come up here, we make the policy, we have goals, we have objectives, but there is a very mighty staff. There is a very well-trained, working hard staff. And in Forest Grove, our staff has to wear many hats because we're a full-service city and we have a very small staff. And yet our staff consistently, day in and day out, pulls off amazing things for our community. Our community feels like big city amenity, and we do that with a small staff. And that staff has been led by Jesse. And so I wanted to make sure that was on public record, that these are the things that you get from living in Forest Grove. You get a staff that really cares, that works hard, that's innovative, and collaborates really well with the council. So I just wanted to make sure that if you are watching, you know how this all works. Okay, thanks. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, well, does the city manager have to read his own things by title only?
Resolution number 2024-27, accepting city manager's performance review.
Thank you. All those in favor of resolution number 2024-27, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none. Resolution number 2024-27 is approved by the Forest Grove City Council in a 5-0 vote. Yes, you would like to, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Van der Zanden.
So normally during this part, I step out and turn it over to Paul so that the council can talk freely. So if there's no objections, I'll.
Are there any objections that he feels like he doesn't like? Okay. Yeah, you're good. Thanks. Okay, so we're going to move on to resolution number 2024-28, authorizing compensation for city manager for fiscal year 2024-25. Mr. Downey.
HR Director Camilli prepared a city manager market compensation study as of July and back to July 1, 2023, which is when we prepare various compensations that we're always about a year behind. And based on the market median on July 1st, 2023, the city's manager's salary was approximately 4.79% below market of the comparable city managers that we use. And also, another piece of information is non-represented city employees. The city manager is a non-represented employee. We're given a 4% COLA effective this July 1, 2024. So we've got the HR director prepared a couple of compensation options to adjust to market and also to include the 4% COLA for the non-rep if the council so wants to give that to the city manager. And so we prepared proposed market rate adjustments of 2%, 3%, and 4%. And so the annual compensation, if you did 2% market rate, would be $191,424. His current salary, let me go back. His monthly salary right now is $15,037. If you did the 2% market rate adjustment with a 4% COLA, the monthly salary would go to $15,952. If you did a 3% market adjustment with a 4% COLA, the salary would go to $16,108. And if you did a 4% market adjustment and a 4% COLA, the monthly salary would go to $16,264 per month. So that's my information. I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Yeah, so our job is to determine the percent increase that Jesse should receive. My thoughts on it is that right now, looking at comparables, he's below the market median by 4.79. The other thing I would like to point out is that in terms of my memory and how we've done it and how I believe he feels comfortable and staff feels comfortable, is it's been pretty consistent. Whatever the non-rep city employees were given as a COLA, the city manager gets. That precedent just creates like a really fair, when you're looking at a working condition of your boss and different things, like you want to make sure everyone, I don't care how old you are, everyone wants it to be fair. Like people want to make sure like this makes sense, this is fair, this is equal. And so I would personally, given the fact that he's already below by 4.79 and that the COLA received by non-rep represented city employees was 4%, I would feel comfortable giving him a market adjust rate of a 4% increase. Any other discussion or comments? You think that's good? Okay. I'm seeing 2 head nods and then, okay. So can I get, I don't think I can move or second, but can I get a motion for a 4% increase from someone and then a second?
Motion to approve a 4% increase.
I second.
Perfect.
The other aspect of the resolution is the car allowance, which we typically increase by the same amount of the COLA. So right now the car allowance is $3,544 annually. A 4% change would take it to $3,686 a month annually, or $307.17 monthly.
Do we, if there's an agreement that it's 4% for both, do we need to have 2 separate motions or?
No, because it's all in one resolution.
Yeah, I think is that fine? I think so. I'm just seeing head nods. So the
Could I just get who seconded that
yeah,
motion?
who was that? Yeah. So it was moved by Councillor Marshall for the 4% increase in salary and car allowance. It was moved by Councillor Marshall. Who was the second on that?
I did.
Councillor Martinez. Okay, so I have resolution 2024-28, authorizing compensation for city manager for fiscal year 2024-25 with a 4% increase in both salary and car allowance. It was moved by Councillor Marshall and seconded by Councillor Martinez. Discussion. Yeah, I have a lot to say tonight. I'm really sorry, but looking at comparables and knowing, I mean, I'm just going to be blunt and put it out there. Jesse's a really good city manager. Yeah, so I would hate, and I think we hear this a lot when we talk with city employees, and I know myself in my profession, the school district, but when you're part of Metro and you're on the outskirts of Metro and and other people pay higher. So I really think this is, a good, fair compensation for the work he does. Any other discussion? Will the assistant city manager read it by title only, please?
Resolution 2024-28, resolution authorizing compensation for city manager for fiscal year 24-25.
Thank you. And will our city recorder please call for the vote?
Councillor Gustafson?
Yes.
Councillor Martinez?
Yes.
Councillor Marshall?
Yes.
Councillor Valenzuela?
Yes.
Mayor Wenzel?
Yes, in a vote of 5-0, resolution number 2024-28 is approved by the Forest Grove City Council. Are we good, Paul?
We are good, and we'll get a clean resolution for you to sign. So.
Oh yeah, so I don't sign this one?
No, it's got no dollar amounts in. We'll type it. We'll type them in and have you sign
I'll
it.
be in tomorrow to meet with, I have a meeting in City Hall, so
Okay.
I'll be in tomorrow. Thank you. So now we're going to go, we're going to move on to Councillor Communication. Council President Rippey is absent, so Councillor Gustafson.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Marshall.
Parks and Rec, went over Cornelius is starting construction. The school had sold the cafeteria and the gym to the city. I don't know if I went over this last time. I'm kind of losing track of which one was which.
I don't know if you did. I knew because I'm a school district employee. but go
NAMS
ahead.
is starting to install the turf, so it should be playable by fall. Tom McCall, they updated, they're flattening the football field to work on the drainage of the field. They have 2 new lifeguards at the swimming pool. They hired 2 leads for the rec program and several aides for it. The Rotary cleaned the flag in the area over there, the big area. Hazel Stills is still moving along. Well, I'm just waiting on equipment. And it looks like the next meeting is going to be July 17th, and it looks like they are going to be doing a presentation here, I believe, on the 24th for the council.
Oh.
And then forestry, we have our meeting this Wednesday, so I'll have more information next meeting.
Perfect. Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Martinez.
So let's see. Last Wednesday, I went to the Forest Grove Rural Fire District meeting. Gales Creek Station, they did they replaced some of the siding, the gutters, entry door to the house, and did some painting. I guess it looks great depending on who you talk to. Some people don't like the color. Chief Gearing will be on vacation June 29th to July 16th. And then attended the Sister City meeting. That was last week also. We discussed the fact that the mayor and one adult will be coming from New Zen October 29th and 30th and leaving on the 31st. So I'll only be here 2 days, basically, 2 nights.
Just the mayor will be 2 nights.
The
but
mayor
students will be longer.
Well, the students will be longer, but the mayor and an adult will be here for 2 nights. And then the students and 2 adults come in October 29th and will leave November 1st. The mayor of New Zen he took our offer for the, what do you call it? Pay the
Reciprocity.
Yeah, reciprocity. Thank you very much.
No
For the ticket. So we thought the celebration will probably be October 30th, a reception type celebration, dinner. Those are all being planned. We're trying to figure out where to have it still and how that's going to look. So that's really all I have right now. We had a lot of different ideas that we came up with for things to do. So in process.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Counselor Ewing is absent. Counselor Valenzuela.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I have nothing to report. The Policy Advisory Board canceled their meeting last month, but there will be one this coming Thursday. And so I have nothing to report for today.
Thank you, Counselor. City Manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I do have a few things to report here this evening. The city was successful in all 3 of its federal projects being included in Senator Wyden and Merkley's request. They submit their spending request into the committee. The committee will have a markup. They pass out a bill. The Senate passes, and then the House passes. So there's a lot of steps left, but it's a good first step for the city. The 3 projects that were included in it were TV highway safety improvements, the Forest Grove Loop Trail, and the 21st Avenue. At $3 million, $2.24, and $1.76 million, respectively. I'll keep the council apprised as the congressional appropriations process continues. Economic opportunities analysis. We have Johnson Economics is on contract. They have started their work. They're in the data collection and an analyst portion. Right now, they're putting together a technical advisory committee. So once we get some initial results for the EOA, we will bring that back to the city council. That will eventually be passed by a resolution or accepted by a resolution and then amended to the comprehensive plan. The 26th Avenue reconstruction project is nearing, it's almost done. If you get a chance to go take a look, it looks great. The pavement came out really well. The contractor's been doing a really good job. But it's almost done. And if you go to the library, you'll start to see some activity there today. Some of the American Rescue Plan monies that the council appropriated are going into 3 projects there, a remodel of both the east and the west bathrooms, and then also the teen partition. They're going to phase it so that they start on one end with the restroom, then they go to the partition, and then they do the other end after the previous restroom that was being remodeled reopens. So you'll just see a lot of activity there associated with the library. And then I think that's it. That's all I have. Thanks, Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay, my turn. So HLB, Historic Landmarks Board, they're going to be sponsoring an education fair in August. They haven't completely tied down the date, but it's looking like August 3rd. They're going to have a few mini sessions, one on repairs. There's going to be an option to tour downtown, oral history, and then a possible topic about the Indian School and working with Pacific Native Student Union Group. They'll have a special meeting on June 25th. However, I will not be able to make it. And then we had Heather, the CCE, the CCE chair, came as part of their buddy program. So you should all be seeing someone from CCI at your boards and commissions reaching out. And then Region 1 Area Transportation, I met with them on the 3rd of June. And just a couple, well, there's a lot to go over, but it went over, the meeting it went 45 minutes over when it was supposed to end. So it's just been a lot. But anyways, so some summer construction updates that the public and council might be interested in is that I-5 in Southwest Portland will be closed June 28th through July 1st for some bridge repair. Overnight closures on Hall and Brookwood. And then, there's a lot of work on safety updates. So there's a lot more pedestrian accidents, and so they're trying to figure out why that's happening. There's some ideas, but overall crashes have decreased. Connect Oregon's doing their funding cycle, so we recommended the funding programs, the grants and so those were rail and trains. So the Mount Hood Railroad expansion was the number one priority. And then on June 5th, I attended the first Wednesday in Farmers Market with the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council and then also the police department. But the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council has 10 members that are consistently showing up. We're going to work on recruiting. We have another meeting on June 17th. We're going to look at some service projects. Their interests are service projects like voter registration, and then how to engage teenagers within city events. And so they're using this Move app. So it might be, I'm going to actually try to meet with the City Club and the Chamber, and then some student groups to see how if there's any interest in partnering with the MEAC on some engagement. And then on June 8th was the Forest Grove High School's graduation. And then also in the afternoon from 11 to 1, the police department and neighborhood volunteers in the Rogers Park area hosted a barbecue. It was a steady stream. We served lots of burgers and lots of hot dogs. It was a steady stream of people there was Zumba going on the basketball court. I stayed the whole time. It was a really good event. And then also on your calendars, if you're interested, next Thursday on June 20th, Chair Harrington, Washington County Commissioner Chair Harrington is doing the state of the county at the Public Service Building in Hillsborough at 6 p.m. on June 20th. Adelante Mujeres is hosting their annual fundraiser on June 21st in Portland. And then our local Theater in the Grove, does a fundraiser performance entertainment on June 22nd. So those are some events coming up. I think that's my update. Okay, and then really quickly, I heard our city attorney say this, so I'm gonna make sure. So following this meeting, we're gonna have an executive session of the URA. So executive sessions are closed to the public. No formal decisions or actions will be taken. Representatives of the news media may attend, but may not disclose any information discussed. News media representatives can request a link to attend via Zoom by emailing the city recorder's office at mwoods@forestgrove/or.gov. So the board will convene to hold an executive session pursuant to ORS 1926602E to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions. Okay, so I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. We're going to move in there.